What is going on, y'all? I am Jeff Rooney, and I wanted to do the upgrade kit for MPM-12. This is from DNA Design DK27. So if you'll remember, the last upgrade kit I did was actually the one for Ultra Magnus to make him a little bit taller. And then I think it gave him a couple extra weapons, and that may have been it. It was a pretty straightforward design, or pretty straightforward upgrade. This one I think is a little bit more complex. So just opening up the box. You've got quite a few more things in here. So I think the big thing that will be upgraded is actually going to be the hands. So these hands, I believe, are at least I think they're individually articulated, and then he'll get a new head, and then it'll be an upgrade for the shoulder piece. So that's this, I think, right here. And that's basically so that whenever he goes into truck mode, it's not the cat ear version, and then a leg upgrade, which I believe with that is going to make him a little bit taller. So let's get going. Okay, so first things first. The instructions are kind of weird. Yeah, they're kind of weird, at least in the way they're set up. So you've got the backside view. The first thing we want to do is I guess upgrade the head. So you flip it over and then you do, and it's like vertical. So you go this, and then you finish. It's only 4 steps, and then you start here, and then you go back up, and then like I said, it's just kind of a weird way to do things. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we'll start with the head, and you just unscrew it, and then replace it with the new head. All right, so we'll be using the iFixit kit, and I believe this is going to be it's just a normal Phillips screw, but should be pretty straightforward. It just said basically unscrew it, and then remove the head, and then install the new head, and install the screw. So this should be pretty straightforward. Get the new head out. Okay, and just real quick, here is a comparison of the two heads. So if you can see, it's kind of hard to tell, but this one's got a little bit more detail on the earpieces, and then the face is just a little bit more detailed. So kind of a small upgrade, but not bad either way. I assume it'll be pretty straightforward. You'll just kind of pull that apart, slide it back in. Just screw that back in. Okay, there we go. And that actually took quite a few more turns than I thought it would, just to get everything to kind of seal back up. But yeah, not a bad upgrade right there. You do have the light piping still up at the top, so if you can get some light shining in there, his eyes will glow. Let's see if we can put this other head back in here. Okay. And then next step is to, I guess, upgrade the left arm. So it says, let's see, we got to pull this piece out. Okay. And extend this out. Oh, interesting. Okay, so got to pull out this part. Okay, so you get that little block in there just to kind of keep things extended, and then you are supposed to use this kind of plunger piece. Use the plunger piece, and then up here you can actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but up here there is a piece that you're supposed to basically kick that out, and then there's a spring, and you just need to grab that, and you're swapping it out for this one. Okay, so that took a little bit of effort, but yeah, you end up having to use a hammer to slide this out. And once you do that, there's the pin. Let's see if we can get this out. We need the spring out of here. Try not to let it, flip out or anything. Then you grab grab your right side one. Let's see if, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is pretty tricky. I haven't quite figured it out how I'm going to do it yet. But you basically have to get this spring, which, you know, real small. You have to get it inside of this shoulder cavity, and then also get it, you know, loop through here, and then get the pin back in there. So it is a little tricky. So I might speed this up. Okay, so got it in there. You know, now it works the exact same as the other side, which, I mean, of course it does. It's the same spring. Yeah, that was a pain. So basically, let's see if you can even see that in there. See if it'll. No. Let's see, maybe if I do this. You see that spring in there a little bit. So basically, there's a pin. So basically there's a pin that goes from here all the way through, and then you've got to get that spring, you know, kind of readjusted. The spring has to sit inside of this gray piece, and then it also sits in a cavity on the red piece. Like I said, kind of a hard thing to, like, you know, get focus on, especially with this arm in the way. But yeah. So once you get that in there, then you put the smokestack. Let's see, do you put the smokestack back in? Yeah, put the smokestack back in, and then we'll do it to the other side. So I'll probably just speed through that one. Not gonna talk or anything through it, or I might just, you know, cut and just go straight over to the next step after I complete the other side. Okay, so got that one in. A little bit easier. I still need to actually finish it off, but as you can see, there's the pin, and it's got kind of like this, just kind of this ribbed section, I guess, to where it doesn't, you know, doesn't slip basically. Yeah, so a little bit easier than, you know, basically once you kind of figure it out, it's not too bad after the first one. And following the instructions, you know, verbatim didn't seem to work super well, but yeah, we'll get this one done, and then I think after that it's doing the forearm. Okay, so in looking at the instructions on here, we're going to be starting right here, and you're going to take out 2 screws, flip down this compartment, and then the arm separates, and you keep, I guess this is, I don't know if it's actually a piece of rubber, if it's like a, you know, gasket's probably not the right word, but it's probably a piece of plastic, but you do keep that part, and then you transfer it over to the arm of the or the forearm of the upgrade kit, and then, you know, this one actually looks pretty straightforward. It doesn't look like there's any springs you have to deal with. I think the screws that are in here that it wants you to use are actually the ones that come with the kit. It comes with 13, so I think it's going to be one of those, or 2 of those pieces of 2 of those screws, as opposed to using the ones that are inside of the original piece. And I was mistaken on the actual hand. So if you remember on here, it doesn't have any individually articulating fingers. It's you know, it's kind of a mitt, but it's kind of stuck in like an L shape. So what this one does is, which this is already kind of coming apart since it doesn't have anything holding it together, but it's an individually articulated index finger, and then still a mitt, but at least it does articulate as well. So you can get kind of a, you know, if you want to do a hand wave or anything like that, and then a movable thumb, which I think that's almost the exact same as the original factory piece. So yeah, this one doesn't look too bad. At least it definitely looks easier than swapping out that shoulder piece. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the piece that it wants you to keep, and this is actually the ratchet piece. So if you look on the arm, you've got the ratchet section right here, and this is what kind of keeps it in line. And that ratchet piece, let's see, that ratchet piece just goes right here. So you stick that on his arm, and you can see that that's obviously where it goes. So then once you tighten that down, it'll ratchet in place. It's reattached. Okay, so got that on there, and then let's grab 2 screws out of here. Okay, so definitely a lot easier than this, like I said, the shoulder piece. But yeah, not bad. Definitely still ratchets. So pretty cool. I'll loosen this one up just a little bit, just in case that's. Yeah, there we go. I did have it over tightened just a little bit. It was kind of, it was making it to where that bicep joint was just for sure coming out. So loosen that up a little bit just to give it a little bit more flex whenever it's whenever you're moving the arm. Yeah, there we go. And again, just that side-by-side comparison. So if you, like I said, if you flip this open, it's just, you have a single finger, but it doesn't really do anything. Like, you can't do any sort of dynamic posing. You can't do a point or anything like that. But with this one, you can at least get a small point out of there. Point with the pointer finger, and then you can completely unfurl the other fingers as well. At least into a flat palm instead of the weird L-shaped thing. Okay, so in terms of a comparison, here are both, I guess it's the right hand, it's the left side, if you're looking straight on, but it's his right hand. One of the kind of cool things that they did do is on this one, it just kind of folded, in and out for the transformation. On here, whenever you're transforming from robot mode to truck mode, you flip that piece actually, you flip it, you actually turn it, which is pretty sweet. So you get a little bit of extra detail. You get, kind of a more screen accurate representation of what his arm looks like, and then you flip it open for the truck mode side. Only downside is you don't have that Autobot logo right there, but if you have one of those sticker sheets, you could obviously add that in pretty easily. One of the nice things about not having to upgrade this piece is you still have the factory Autobot insignias, and then I think this mostly looks the same. Yeah, it mostly looks the same. I think it does maybe pivot a little bit, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, let's move on to the next section. Okay, so it looks like we are upgrading at least one portion of the legs. I guess this is probably just the thigh piece to start with, but it does look like we've got some more springs and ratchets to keep track of. So this one is actually one of the longer ones, so it goes for 3 columns and then all the way up to the first column on the 4th row, and you'll have to do that twice. So it looks like we will be, like I said, removing some screws, keeping the spring that's in there. I think we're pretty much taking apart everything and then, just replacing it as we go. So he's going to be kind of one-legged for at least a small bit. So let's get started. All right, and here is that. This looks like another ratchet, but it's on a spring. So let's see. Put these pieces back together. Put those aside. Okay, Same thing. Here is almost the exact same type of ratchet that was in that forearm. So setting that aside as well. Okay, so one minor detail that I kind of missed, which I don't think it's like that on the original version, is you actually put a screw through, the mushroom peg, and let's double check and make sure I actually got that tight enough. Yeah, sweet. But yeah, not bad at all. Like I said, I don't think that is quite the same. I think this one was kind of, two screws right here. This one is one screw right here, and I don't know if there's a screw that actually goes right there in conjunction with the other pieces. Okay, so that's one leg down, and as you can see, he is definitely a little bit taller. The thigh's a little bit bigger. In terms of differences, you've got a little bit more detail here on the sides. Kind of a more breakout between. Oh, his arm's in the way. A little bit more of a breakout between the chrome and the darker gray pieces as compared to this side, which is all kind of the same gray color. Yeah, a little bit different install as well. So you've definitely got a few more things you have to do. You got a few more things to screw in. But yeah, not bad. Only thing that's kind of weird that I'm a little bit curious about is like this knee joint is a little bit different. Let's see. So as you can see right here, he's got just a little bit different placement, different setup. Ratchet's still the same. But yeah, that is kind of a different thing. It kind of gives him a little bit more mobility, but you kind of have to hold it in a weird spot to get that ankle or to get the knee to actually move like you want it to. But yeah, we'll do the other side, and then I think after that, I think we're pretty much done. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done. So let's get going. So I am all done. I didn't record I guess that would have been the right leg. I didn't record that one. I mean, it's basically all the same. The only thing I did notice that wasn't in the instructions, and maybe I just missed it, but you have some screws that you have to do for the thigh region. Like it tells you to do one here, one on the back, and then one on the mushroom peg. But there was 2 screws left over, and they actually go right here on the thigh. So it's basically, in tandem. So you have one here and then one here. Like I said, at least I didn't see it in the instructions, but I totally could have missed it, and maybe that was just on me. But yeah, that kind of just just anchors it on both sides of that knee. But yeah, this was actually a pretty cool upgrade. Nothing was as hard as this piece. That was actually the hardest thing to do. Everything else was pretty straightforward. So if you get this and you get to this, you do the first part and you kind of want to throw in the towel. Once you do that, that's the easiest part. The only other thing that sort of gave me trouble was inside of that mushroom peg, there was another ratchet that was on a spring, and I did on the second leg, that spring kept trying to pop out, and it actually flew out at one point. I thought I lost it, but I was able to find it. So yeah, the ratchet stuff is actually the ratchet on the thigh was maybe the second hardest part, but even that wasn't too bad. It was just mostly just squeezing it in and putting it in place. But yeah, it's a pretty great upgrade. He's definitely a little bit taller than he was before, and then like I said, that being able to point, kind of doing some commands and stuff like that, that's probably that's one of the best upgrades, honestly. Like if anything, that's worth the price of admission. I'll put a link to where you can get this. I think I got mine from TF Source, but I think you can also get it from Big Bad Toy Store and maybe a couple other places. But yeah, I got mine from TF Source, so I'll put a link for that down below. And I'm going to transform real quick just to show off the the non-cat eared version of the cab. Transformation is complete. Transformation pretty much stays exactly the same. One of the key differences is that this shin plate right here actually folds up instead of being, right here. So that's just because of the longer legs. So you have to flip them up a little bit if you want to actually get it tabbed in the like the original transformation. But yeah, there's no cat ears on this guy anymore. Those are right here. If you wanted to, you could still display it like that if you wanted to flip them up, but that was kind of the point of the upgrade kit, was getting rid of that piece. Otherwise, the transformation is mostly the same. I did mention that you do have to flip this arm piece around whenever you're flipping the arm. So you take it and then you turn it 180 degrees, and then you flip it up, because on the other side is the is kind of more of the robotic structure. Otherwise, like I said, everything else is pretty much the same. I think this was like an extra piece. There's like you just get a little bit of a couple extra things that help tab things up. But yeah, great kit. I'll put a link to it down below. Like I said, I think I got mine from TF Source, but I think you can get it from Big Bad Toy Store and maybe directly from DNA Design or eBay or something like that. But yeah, it took maybe an hour and a half to complete. So if you've got an afternoon to spend, then this is definitely something that is worth doing. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Like I've said in previous videos, we're real close to 100. So if you want to be that 100th person, hit that subscribe button.